Allah says, don't you people think? Now, I said that ayah about the nations destroyed was from, or nations punished was from Surah Al-Talaq. The last thing I want to share with you in these couple of minutes is what is the subject of Surah Al-Talaq. You may have heard the word hudud before. Hudud is the limits set by Allah. The word had actually originally refers to a fence or a border. That's the had of some. The animal doesn't cross the fence. Allah in His laws has set some fences and said to the Muslims, stay inside this fence. And whoever crosses this fence is in trouble with Allah. Either you've done wrong to yourself, وَمَن يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ. Whoever crosses these limits that are set by Allah, they're doing wrong to themselves. Now listen to this. I just want, we could talk about all of the hudud, we're just going to talk about the one that's in this surah, in Surah Al-Talaq. I want us to think about forget thinking about the governments that are not obedient. And we said we need Islamic governments, we need Sharia to be established, we need our elites are secular, they're liberal, they're bringing, modern values to Muslim countries, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Before we do istighfar about them, everyone, myself included, let's look in our own family first. And listen to what Allah is saying. Allah says in the beginning of this surah, يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة واتقوا الله ربكم لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة وتلك حدود الله ومن يتعدى حدود الله فقد ظلم نفسه. The opening ayah says, here's how you divorce women. And I won't go into the details because we have 1 minute left, but I'll tell you one thing. He says when a Muslim man divorces his wife, he is not allowed to kick her out of the house, to pressure her out of the house, or even suggest maybe it's better you go to your parents' house now. He's not allowed to say any of that or do any of that for 3 period cycles. And then there are additional rules if she's older, 3 months, if she's pregnant until the baby's born. 3 period cycles, and Allah says, do not expel them from their own homes. Now, you could have your name on the house, it's your name it's your property. But actually, for those 3 months, it's her house. Min buyutihinna. You have to treat those months like the house belongs to her. And you could say, man, I'm getting divorced because I hate this woman. I can't get along with her. I can't even share the same room with her. Some of the fuqaha, you know what they said about this ayah? They said, if you hate her that much, you leave the house, she stays. Can't kick her out of the house. And they shouldn't leave the house. Now, I come from a Muslim country, Pakistan. Our neighboring country is Bangladesh. Hundreds of millions of Muslims in India, Sri Lanka. You know what the common practice in our countries is when somebody divorces a woman? Muslim countries, Muslim families, the moment the guy says, you're done, I divorce you, he calls her dad, come take your daughter. I'm done, take her away. The first thing Allah said is, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ رَبَّكُمْ لَا تُخْرِجُوهُنَّ مِن بُيُوتِهِنَّ. Have taqwa of Allah, your Rabb, don't expel them from their homes. Don't expel them from their homes. And they shouldn't leave. And then he said, and these are the hudud of Allah. And what is the common? This is the most common thing. And we say, oh, we want the hudud of Allah. We want to abide by the sharia of Allah. When Allah says His hudud, we say, come take your daughter. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. How many millions of women, where am I going to go? I have small children. How am I going to pay for them? And Allah made the expense of the child a responsibility of the man in the Quran, exclusively. Exclusively. The children's support, child support, is exclusively the man's responsibility. Explicit. These are from the hudud of Allah. Okay, if one person breaks this rule, okay, maybe that's just one person who's sinful, and you're in your family and you don't say anything. So when you don't say anything, وَفِيكُمْ سَمَّعُونَ لَهُمْ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِالظَّالِمِينَ. You're listening to it happen, you're watching it happen, but you're not saying anything. Allah knows all the wrongdoers. The one who does it and the one who watches is like a spectator. Can't say anything to my uncle. Can't say anything to my older brother. He's my older brother, etc., etc. We do this all the time. And the point I'm trying to make to you is if enough of us do this, if enough Muslims break the law of Allah, this limit set by Allah, and we're proud to do it too, we're being a real man about it too, we do utu, then Allah has a formula. Allah has a rule. When you do this enough times, I will make you fight each other and kill each other. I will break you up into multiple nations. I will have other people have more power over you, and they will humiliate you in the worst, most possible ways. You will have a generation of Muslims, new generation of Muslims, who won't even know why they're Muslim. They just got Islam in inheritance. They'll become extremely materialistic. All they will care about is money, looks, pleasure. That's all they'll care about, and it will never be enough for them. And they won't ever be learning and studying the book of Allah or the deen of Allah. That won't happen. This will be a punishment Allah will give to those who openly, in enough numbers, disobey Allah. So now our reading, well, why would Sahaba be warned that nations were punished before you? This is the last ayah I'm leaving you with. My time's up. He says, أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا فاتقوا الله يا أولي الألباب الذين آمنوا قد أنزل الله إليكم ذكرا. He says Allah punished those nations, Salih, Shu'aib, those nations, Ad, Thamud, those nations. He says Allah gave them intense punishment. Therefore, you have taqwa of Allah, people of good minds that have actually come to believe. Allah has sent a reminder especially to you. Allah is reminding you through them. All this time we thought Allah is reminding Quraysh through them. And now Allah is reminding you and me through them. There's a sunnah of Allah of collective punishment. I pray that Allah does not make us of those worthy of collective punishment, nor of individual punishment. I pray to Allah that even within our own families, within our own circles, when we see wrongdoing happen and an open violation of the hudud of Allah going on, that we put a stop to it. We stand by. Allah describes us as وَالْحَافِظُونَ لِحُدُودِ اللَّهِ. وَالْحَافِظِينَ لِحُدُودِ اللَّهِ. Those who guard the limits set by Allah. That means I have to not cross those lines, but if people I love are crossing those lines, I pull them back too and say, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. I have to guard. That's what it means to guard the fence. So I pray that Allah makes us of those who guard the limits set by Allah, especially when it comes to our families, especially when it comes to our own our own circles. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept our tawbah and our mistakes and make us transform our behavior so we don't become people that get Allah's iqab, but we get Allah's maghfirah and Allah's rahmah, His forgiveness and His loving care. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله رحمكم الله اتقوا الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.